Hey everybody, welcome back. We are on chapter 4. Now remember, we're working out of the book As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Chapter 4 is thought and purpose. And really quick, if you're just jumping into this is your first video here, make sure you go back to chapter 1 and catch yourself up, because every chapter has been on thought, and James Allen is really dissecting thought. He's really digging deeper and deeper and deeper in every single chapter. How thought or thought process, positive or negative, how it really affects our overall life. Other than that, let's get rock and rolling. Chapter 4 is a tiny little chapter and it's only a couple pages, so let's get rocking. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. I'll say that one more time. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. Okay, look at this. Until thought is linked with purpose, there's no intelligent accomplishment. Okay, when he's talking about this, now we're really diving into thought, and do you have a purpose for it? Because a lot of times our thoughts are just aimlessly floating around. We're not steering, almost like you're steering a car. You know the direction you want to go, and you're steering it. But it's the same thing with our thoughts. Are you steering your thoughts? Are you the master of your mind? Are you the master of your thoughts? Or are you just letting your mind? You just think about anything and everything. No matter what you think about, you just let your mind go that direction. That's what he's really talking about here. And then he says, with the majority, the bark of thought is allowed to drift upon the ocean of life. That's what he's talking about. Like, you're just letting your thoughts drift wherever they go. You're not in control of them. Aimlessly is a vice, and such drifting must continue for him who would steer clear of catastrophic and destruction. Meaning that if you're just letting your thoughts just drift, and you're just letting your thoughts just go wherever they want to go, okay, it's going to steer you in a direction of destruction. It's going to steer you in direction of negativity, and that's what's going to manifest to you. That's what he's really saying here. This is kind of why manifesting techniques don't work, because you're not in control of your thoughts. You're just letting them drift all over the place. And he's basically doing an example of, and I'm going to use an example of driving a car. If you're driving a car from your house to your work, you have one direction to go. Maybe you have a couple of directions to go if you run into traffic, but you have one direction to go. You know how to go there. But if you just let your thoughts run wild and you just do whatever your thoughts told you to do when you're driving to work, well, you might never get to work. You know what I mean? And you never get to work, meaning that you didn't call off, you didn't get to work, you're probably going to lose your job. That's basically destruction that would happen to you. The same thing with our thoughts. They who have no central purpose in their life fall an easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pities, all of which are indications of weakness, which lead just as surely as deliberately planned sins, though by different route, to failure, unhappiness, and loss. For weakness cannot persist in a power-evolving universe. Now, that was actually one sentence. But let's go through this more time. They would have no central purpose in life, fall easy prey. Listen to this. People fall easy prey. This is why people fall easy prey. Maybe you and myself, I'm not excluded from this. People fall easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pities. Why? They fall easy prey to it because they're not in control of their thoughts. They're just letting their thoughts drift. Whatever you think about, you think about. That's why people fall easy prey to petty worries, fears, troubles, doubt, worry, and fears. That's why they fall into that trap so easy, because they're not the master of their thoughts. A man should conceive of a legitimate purpose in his heart and set out to accomplish it. He should make this purpose the centralizing point of his thoughts. It may take the form of a spiritual ideal, or it may be a worldly object, according to his nature at the time being. But whichever it is, he should steadily focus his thought forces upon the object, which he has set before him. I'm going to see what color I have this on, because I like this right here. And I'll say this one more time. He should steadily focus his thought forces upon object. Meaning that, same way like if you follow Never-Galder says, set an intention, be decisive, make a decision. What do you want? And when you set that intention, all your thought forces is on that attention. Okay, stop letting your thoughts wander. Stay focused on exactly what you want. That's what he's saying here. Which he has set before him. He should make this purpose his supreme duty. Listen, you should make this purpose. You should make your attention, what you want, your supreme duty, and should devote himself to its attainment, not allowing his thoughts to wander away into ephemeral fancies, longings, and imaginings. So that's what I just said. You stay focused on exactly what you want, and you need to master your thoughts and control your thoughts so your thoughts don't drift all over the place. As your thoughts drift, basically what happens, it comes off your focus. It comes off what you really want. Now you bring energy to things that you don't want. This is a royal road to self-control and true concentration of thought. Even if he fails again and again to accomplish his purpose, as he necessarily must until weakness is overcome, the strength of character gain will be the measure of his true success. And this will form a new starting point for future power and triumph. I actually really love this, because this right here kind of tells me, as even if you first start off on your journey, you set an intention, you get what you want, but you're focused on it, okay, but you kind of fail over and over and over and over and over. And how you fail in the beginning is because in the beginning you're not a master of your thoughts yet. Your thoughts are drifting all over the place. But what's happening is you're becoming aware of it. Okay, you're starting to become aware of where your thoughts are going. And then once you start becoming aware, you start catching yourself and you bring your back in line with your goal. Then your thoughts will drift again. You catch it and you bring it right back to your goal, to your intention. And as you do this over and over and over, okay, it feels like you're failing, but you're really not. What's happening is you're gaining more and more strength to actually move forward with your intention. So you're actually getting better and better and better. Then at that point, you're getting better and better and better for future power and triumph. Those who are not prepared for the apprehension of a great purpose should fix the thoughts upon the faultless performance of their duty. Listen of it. Those who are not prepared for the apprehension of a great purpose, what do you want? Should fix their thoughts upon the faultless performance of their duty, no matter how insignificant their task may appear. Only in this way can the thoughts be gathered and focused, and resolution and energy be developed. Which being done, there is nothing which may not be accomplished. Listen to this. At the very end, I love this. There is nothing which may not be accomplished. Once you put your thought energy to it, once you set an intention, you set a want, and you focus on it, there's nothing impossible. You can have anything you want. That's what he's saying. The weakest soul, knowing its own weakness and believing this truth, that strength can only be developed by effort and practice, will thus, believing at once, begin to exert itself, and adding effort to effort, patience to patience, and strength to strength, will never cease to develop, and will at last grow divinely strong. I love this paragraph here, and it's really hard. I almost love every paragraph, because when a chapter is so small like this one, we're on the last page. There's only 2 pages. It's just filled with non-fluff. It's just every paragraph is just filled with wisdom and no fluff at all. The weakest soul, meaning you're just starting off. Your mind, you're used to basically decades of just letting your thoughts run wild. You're not in control of it. That's what he means, the weakest soul, because we're talking about thought here, the level of thought. And thought is our thought process. Mastering our thoughts is the entire power that we have over our life. Okay, this is what's really manifesting positive and negative in our 3D world. That's why I said the weakest soul, knowing its own weakness and believing this truth. Listen to this, believing this truth. What truth? Is that strength can only be developed by effort and practice. You can only grow stronger into mastering your thought process by effort and practice, by being persistent and consistent, by doing these exercises over and over and over and not giving up. That's why he says that strength can only be developed by effort and practice, will, thus believing at once begin to exert itself, and adding effort to effort, patience to patience, and strength to strength, will never cease to develop, and will at last grow divinely strong. As the physically weak man can make himself strong by careful and patient training, so the man of weak thoughts can make them strong by exercising himself in the right thinking. Now, I love this. Here he's talking about as a physically weak man can make himself strong by careful and patient training. What this means is, and we've all fell in this trap, even for myself. Let's say you've never been to the gym in your entire life. You've never worked out in your entire life. Now you look in the mirror. You're not feeling that great. You look like you're unhealthy. You look like you're out of shape. And you feel out of shape because you are. I mean, that's just being honest. And you go to the gym and you start to work out. Now the flip happens also. You could back in high school or college been in wonderful, excellent shape at one time. That's where I kind of was because I competed professionally in martial arts. So at one time I was in awesome shape, and now I'm in okay shape. But there's been several times throughout my life where I stopped working out for a handful of years or maybe a decade, and when I go back to the gym, I'm not in the kind of shape that I used to be. I mean, I'm really out of shape. I mean, I'm pretty much almost at the same level of somebody who's never worked out before. And that's really a very, very frustrating phase. It's really frustrating because when you go to the gym, you're out of shape. If you're a guy, you're not as strong as you used to be. You go to pick up the weight and you can't even handle the weight, so you got to go pick up lighter and lighter and lighter weight, so you look like a weakling in the gym, lifting, either you're doing dumbbells or straight bar or bell bars. You look weak as crap, what I mean? And on top of that, you might be weak, but on top of that, you can't even make it through a workout without feeling sick, okay? And then you can't even push it that hard through the workout. Okay, you can't even work out that hard, let alone you can't even make it through it without feeling like you're going to throw up and have a stomach ache. I mean, when you go to the gym in the beginning, it's such a frustrating phase. And this is what he's saying. This is what he's comparing to, is that the physically weak man can make himself strong by careful and patient training. Okay, you're not going to get in shape. And you talk about physical shape. Okay, I have a lot of experience with this. You're not going to get in shape in 1 week. You're not going to get in shape in 1 month. I mean, it's going to take you, minimum at least about 3 months to 3.5 months just to when you look in the mirror, just to look in the mirror and actually see results. You might not be in the kind of shape that you really want to be after 3 months, but it's going to take around 3.5 months where you start kind of seeing results, where you start kind of overall feeling better and feeling strong, where you actually feel like going to the gym is actually working for you. This is the same thing for manifesting. This is why people mess up in this type of work. As when we talk about manifesting, people's never been involved with it. Their whole entire life, they have their deep-rooted beliefs run their life. Their secret thoughts run their life. Their thoughts just are rampant all over the place. They're not in control of it whatsoever. But then they think they're come to the law of attraction or manifesting. In 1 week, they're able to fix everything, and it doesn't happen. Because that's why he's comparing it. He's comparing our mind as like the body if the body's out of shape. You have to be patient. You have to train your body just like you have to train your mind. That's why he says, as a physically weak man can make himself strong by careful and patient training, so the man of weak thoughts can make them strong by exercising himself in the right thinking. To put away aimlessly in weakness and to begin to think with purpose is to enter the ranks of those strong ones who only recognize failure as one of the pathways to attainment, who make all conditions serve them, and who think strongly, attempt fearlessly, and accomplish masterfully. Having conceived of his purpose, a man should mentally mark out a straight pathway to his achievement. Okay, this is what we've been talking about. Okay, whatever you want, whatever your goal is, whatever your attention is, decide what you want, and there's one pathway to get to it. Your one pathway is you're controlling your thoughts. You're trying to master your thoughts, because each time your thoughts, you start thinking, oh, I don't like this person, this is why. You're distracted for what you really want, because now all of a sudden you're bringing energy to what you don't like, and that energy isn't going to what you do want. That's really what's happening. Having conceived of his purpose, a man should mentally mark out a straight pathway to its achievement, looking neither to the right nor the left. Doubts and fears should be rigorously excluded. Listen to this. Doubts and fears should be rigorously excluded. They are disintegrating elements which break up the straight line of effort, rendering it crooked, ineffectual, useless. Thoughts of doubt and fear never accomplish anything and never can. Listen to this. Thoughts of doubt and fear never accomplish anything and never can. They always lead to failure. Okay, when you have worry, doubt, and fear, remember, when you're festering on worry, doubt, and fear, think about it this way. It always will lead you to failure. It will always lead you to what you don't want. Okay? They always lead you to failure. Now, on the flip side, purpose, energy, power to do, and all strong thoughts cease when doubt and fear creep in. The will to do springs from knowledge that we can do. Doubt and fear are the great enemies of knowledge. And he who encourages them, who does not slay them, thwarts himself at every step. Now, this brings up an excellent example here, is because when we start talking about worry, doubt, and fear, a couple examples here. Even Napoleon Hill said in the book Think and Grow Rich, is that once you start worrying, it brings in doubt. Then doubt and fear mixed together equals fear. And fear is crippling, my friends. Because fear is what will lead you. You will run back to your comfort zone. You will go back, even if you're in poverty, you will go right back to poverty, because that intensity of fear, builds up. And it builds up with worry and doubt until it just scares you, and you'll go right back to your lifestyle that you hate. That's what happens. Now, another example is when you talk about fear is the fear barrier. I learned this by Bob Proctor, and I used to go to, I was mentored by him one-on-one, and then I used to go to all his seminars when I lived in Los Angeles. So he would talk about the fear barrier, and the fear barrier we all go through. Because what we want, the life we want, the intention we set, that dream house, that dream car, is on the other side of fear. Okay, this big wall right here is a fear barrier. Okay, what we want is on the other side of fear. So what happens is we get right up close to this fear barrier. And once we get right up close to this fear barrier, we're scared to death, because we have to become a different person. And it scares us. And when most of us get up to this fear barrier and we run backwards. We run right back to our poverty lifestyle. We run right back to the comfort zone that we hate and we don't like. We run right back to our comfort zone. This is most people. We have to push past this fear. We have to push past our worries and doubt. Because it's our worries and doubt that leads to fear. That's why fear is crippling. Because when you give so much energy to worries and doubt, that builds up a great big fear, great big fear barrier. The reason why fear is crippling, because it just stops you in your tracks. It just stops you. And no matter how badly you want it, you want to go backwards. You don't want to push forward. But if you just push forward a little bit, what you want is on the other side of it. He who has conquered doubt and fear has conquered failure. Listen to this. He who has conquered doubt and fear has conquered failure. His every thought is aligned with power, and all difficulties are bravely met and wisely overcome. His purposes are seasonably planted, and they bloom and bring forth fruit, which does not fall prematurely to the ground. Thought allied fearlessly to purpose becomes creative force. Listen, thought allied fearlessly to purpose becomes creative force. He knows this is ready to become something higher and stronger than a mere bundle of wavering thoughts and fluctuating sensations. He who does this has become the conscious and intelligent welder of his mental powers. Now, friends, this wraps up chapter 4 on thoughts and purpose. But to kind of wrap this up, what this means is, with purpose is our intention. Just like we follow Never God says, set an intention, set a want. What do you want? What do you want to manifest? That's purpose. Okay, we could have several purposes in life, several intentions, several goals in life. But once we set a purpose, once we set exactly what we want, we have a direct line to it. Okay, our direct line is our thoughts. Okay, And the more we work on this, like in the beginning, we want all of our thought power to go towards this purpose. We want all of our energy to go towards this purpose. We want to think only good thoughts, okay, to be aligned with what we want, to be aligned with our intention. So, but what he's saying is most of us, we don't have no thought control. We let our thoughts aimlessly go all over the place. So imagine yourself, we have this straight line, and you're trying to drive down this road to what you want, to your destination, but every time you have a thought of negative, you pull off and you wander over here for a long time. And sometimes we wander over here for years. You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, sometimes I laugh. Or basically our energy focuses on that. We lose the energy. We lose focus on what we really want. We lose focus on that dream job, or dream career. We lose focus on our dream house or dream vacation. We lose focus on our dream car, and we're focusing on something petty. And this is what he said in the beginning of the chapter. All these weird things that we focus on are petty. And all these petty things that we're focused on, all these negative thoughts, what we don't like about this person, what we don't like about my boss at work, these are just petty things, but it steals your joy. Okay, and it steals your joy, but it steals what you really want, because now you're focused on it. And now you're so focused on it, you end up attracting at that vibration. It brings you more of that. And so you realize what you're doing, and you get back in line with what you want. So that's what he's saying. Okay, once we start mastering this, we start driving towards what we really want. Then as we become closer and closer to what we want, we become closer and closer aligned with what we want. We become closer and closer to what we want, to our attention. Now all of a sudden we hit this fear barrier. Okay, the closer we become to it, okay, what we want is on the other side of fear, this fear barrier. How does a fear barrier happen? It's because we start worrying, we start doubting. Our worries and doubt, if we don't control it, lead to fear, and fear is crippling. Because once we hit this fear barrier, we're scared so much because we're out of our comfort zone. Okay. When you want to attract that dream house, when you want to attract that dream car, when you want to be a millionaire, what that means is you got to change from the inside out. You got to become a better person. You got to become that millionaire now. And what that means is, if you're a millionaire, what type of decisions would you be making? How would you be carrying yourself? How would you be talking? What type of friends would you have? What would be your hobbies? Okay, most of the time we'll find is that that's different than how you are right now. So you got to become congruent with it. A lot of times when you start becoming congruent with it, as you start moving closer and closer to what you want, you hit that fear barrier, meaning you have to become congruent with it. That's when fear sets in, because we're uncomfortable and we don't like that uncomfortable feeling, and we don't like it so much, we will go backwards into poverty. We will go backwards into our comfort zone. Our comfort zone, we're not going to attract in our comfort zone. We're not going to attract that better lifestyle, that millionaire lifestyle, sitting exactly where you are right now with the exact mindset you have right now. You're not going to attract at that level. Okay, so you got to bust through this fear barrier. That's what you have to do. You got to bust through it. Because once you bust through it and you conquer fear, you conquer life, what you want is on the other side of fear, my friends. So that's really the premise of this whole chapter. But other than that, my friends, if you have any questions, comment below. I'd love to know where you're at and what you're doing. I love you guys, and I'll see you in chapter 5.